And it's great to have you with us, everybody, for another edition of the BC Football Show. I am John Meterparel on a Wednesday night. Special to have Jeff Hafley. We're going Zoom. We're going remote, Coach. We are officially in 2020, so we are remoting. Good to see you via the Zoom. And it's even better after a big win. You win your season opener. You win your first career game at BC 26-6. I guess if you look at that score, you say, man, that was easy, but not necessarily in the first half, right?
No. First of all, thanks for having me back. Feels like we were just here yesterday. No, not easy. Good football team. Obviously, it was 7-6 at the half, and we had some big turnovers in the red zone that we were able to capitalize on. But no, tough team. A lot closer game than the scoreboard showed at the end. But really, really happy for the win, especially for our players.
I think it was a classic ACC rock fight in the first half. Both teams feeling each other out, maybe some first-game jitters. But what adjustments did you make at halftime to get it all on the right track?
Well, I think you saw the first drive and the way we came out. I thought our offense put together an incredible first drive. I thought it was well coached, and our players executed at a very high level, running the ball, throwing the ball. We hit some screens. I think we went for it on a fourth down. We converted, and then we punched the ball in. And then we had a couple 3-and-outs real quick to start the game. I think we stopped them on a 3rd and 1, which was a really big play by Marcus Valdez when they tried to run the ball. And I think at that point, our guys were just like swinging for uppercuts. And they came out with so much energy and so much juice. And even me, like there was one point after like the first quarter, I felt like, oh my gosh, I got to sit down for a second. And I think our guys got a little bit tired after that with the anxiety, the energy and everything that had built up, and they let it all out. I think we had to catch our breath a little bit. Duke came out and did some different things in the first half, offensively and defensively, and we didn't execute at a very high level, I think, on offense in that first half. We went to the locker room, we opened it up on offense a little bit more. We took some shots down the field. We got the ball in some playmakers' hands, and got the quarterback on the edge a little bit, let him run around, see things down the field. We took advantage of some more takeaways, and the offense punched it in. So I just think it was great adjustments by the coaching staff, but I also think it was the players just really settling in and getting comfortable.
Yeah, I think throughout the game, we watched Phil Jurkovec flourish, including the second half when he was 11 out of 12. He was right on the money. Excuse me. Why was he more effective in the second than he was in the first?
Well, I hadn't played a game, really started a game since his state championship or state playoff game of his high school senior year. Very hard position to play, and you're going to make mistakes. And I think that front was a really good front. They did a little bit different stuff than we thought on tape, and they got some good pressure on him, but he just needs to play because he made some mistakes in the second half. And I think what you're going to see is he's going to make mistakes. He's a freshman. And that's how he's going to make some young mistakes. But he's got to keep getting better, and I do believe that he will. You saw his ability to throw the ball down the field on the one he hit to Zay. You saw his ability to scramble, keep his eyes down the field on the one he hit in the back of the end zone to Hunter. And then really the same thing to Jalen Gill. If we didn't have the penalty, we really would have scored 33 points on the day on a penalty that happened 20 yards from anything that was going on. So I think you'll see him develop. And hopefully just continue to get better every single week.
Yeah, I think that's a great point because post-game we all looked at each other thinking, you know what? We never even, it's kind of underrated that he hasn't played in a while. He did play at Notre Dame. He was in limited duty last year. He played well. But the fact that he got 4 quarters under his belt is just a huge experience.
Yeah, I mean, he's a starter now. He's not coming in when the game's won and there's no pressure and he's just letting it rip. I mean, he's the starter with a new scheme that he did not have a spring ball for, that he didn't even really have a real training camp for. So the odds were pretty stacked against him in his first game to go out and succeed truthfully. What he was able to do and manage in that first game is a testament to him, the offensive staff, and the hard work he's put in, because it was all stacked against him. And he probably proved a lot of people wrong, and I'm just really proud of him.
Coach, it was great to see your emotions after the game. You're very emotional post-game with the ACC crew. What message did you give the team in the locker room, and what did you convey?
Yeah, well, I was emotional. When I got interviewed at the end of that game, it kind of all came out. And it wasn't just about the win. It's like I haven't had time to think about really everything that we've been through, because you just keep going and going. And it was like when she asked me that question, everything just kind of hit, and it all came out. And I'm a guy who, I kind of wear my emotions on my sleeve, and that's how I'm always going to be. And it is what it is. And it came out. And, in the locker room, it was even more emotional. And, I just told the guys that this is a game that they'll never forget. And this win is so different than any win that they've ever been through. This win's not about me. It's about them. And I told them that. And I told them I was going to get every single guy in that room and every person who touched the program in that room a game ball. Because This is a game that they're going to look back on, not just for the win. They're going to look back at the date, and it's going to be sitting on their bookshelf one day. And they're going to remember everything that they went through, being home, having to work out at home, first time coaching staff having to teach them through Zoom, coming back, being in a quarantine, not able to see their friends, their family, their girlfriends, not able to leave campus, being told they wouldn't play, had their first game canceled, being picked 15th in the ACC, being a 6-point underdog, and just kept saying, you have no chance, you have no chance. And what I think it does, it's not even about beating Duke. It's just a reminder in life that things can be hard and things are going to be hard. But when you push through things and you do things the right way, you can come out on top. And that's what that moment was all about. And it was about the team and how they showed that they love one another and care for one another. It was so much bigger than football. And it was about them. And I kept telling them that. And I was just so proud of them.
That's certainly an inspiring message. Unbelievable how you couldn't get jacked up hearing that. And I think it's extremely worthy. You guys all deserve game balls too, for that matter, your entire coaching staff and the support staff. We talked about it last week on the show, but to me, what you guys have done is amazing. Nothing short of amazing. Every week we hear about teams with COVID issues. Notre Dame this week and their game canceled against Wake Forest. I know it could happen. It could happen to anybody, but the fact that you guys have been disciplined enough to make it so it really isn't an issue at this point is a testament to what the team is bringing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I agree. It's from everybody to the team doctor, to the training staff, to all the assistant trainers. It's every person involved, to the equipment managers. I mean, those guys also have to be careful because they're around us. So the sacrifice, I appreciate every single one of them, and I'm grateful for every one of them. And like I said, we couldn't do any of that without them, and more importantly, the sacrifice of our football players.
Yeah, that sacrifice was very evident in a 26-6 win. Another thing that I found intriguing was this week you talked about there were many highlights when you watched the game film, but some things to clean up, and it's the best time to coach them hardest after you win a game, right?
Yeah, whether it's getting on the staff or getting on the players, the best time to do that is when everybody's feeling really good, because you can usually take some criticism when the rest of the world is telling you that you're doing really good. And I stood in front of the team on Sunday, and I told them, and I believe, I don't think I coached a great game. I made some mistakes pregame. I made some mistakes in the game that I was really disappointed in myself, especially defensively. And I showed the team. And I missed some stuff that I don't normally miss, and I can't do that, or it's going to cost us. And I looked at the players, and I said the same thing. I mean, Zay, yeah, you were the player of the week in the ACC. But on these 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 plays, I mean, you got to be better than that. And Hunter, the same thing. And Phil, the same thing. And, if I can sit in front of the room and point out to myself first, which I always will, I got to be able to call out the best player in the room and tell him he needs to get better. At the same time, I'm not telling those guys they didn't play a good game, because they did. But if we don't continue to improve and look hard at our mistakes and don't let the win and everybody telling us that we did such a good job kind of gloss over that, hey, you're lucky right here. And if this guy did this, that wouldn't happen. So we better fix this. It's not always about the end result. You have to look at the process, and you have to make sure everything is right. And when we watch that film, and I probably watched that game film 100 times, you have to look at those little things, and that's how you win.
What do you want to do better? What
Myself.
did you do well? Yeah, yourself.
Well, there was a couple things. I thought, I looked at everything from how I organized from Friday into the hotel. I thought I made some mistakes with the team. Saturday morning, game day, I thought I brought our team. I was anxious. I brought our team out to the field way too early, because I said, come on, man, let's get out there. We were out on the field too long. We were back in the locker room too long. So I'll look hard at all those little things, and that all comes to me. When defensively speaking, there's a few routes and adjustments that they repeated, and just really disappointed in myself that I didn't see quicker and adjust quicker and put our guys in a better position on the sideline. So it's little things like that I got to get better, and I will. And it will be a learning experience for me too, because all of a sudden I'm on the offensive headset, and I'm used to only being on the defensive headset. So I left the defense, going onto the offensive headsets, looking at the down and distance where, I should still be thinking through things and locking in on what I need to do. So sometimes I got a little too far ahead of myself, but I'll fix it, and I won't make the same mistakes twice.
I guess the word that summarizes it is accountability, right? We hear coaches talk about it all the time. Everybody must be held accountable. It's a refreshing attitude around BC now, I think.
Yeah, it's to me, it's holding yourself accountable first, and it's not making excuses. I didn't say this is my first time I've ever been a head coach, and therefore I made mistakes. No, I stood in front of the team and said, that can't happen, and it won't happen again. Just like I told the player, put on this clip, you're not running hard enough. That can't happen, and it won't happen again. You're letting your teammates down, and you're letting your coaches down. So we have to hold everybody accountable, but it starts by me holding myself and the staff accountable first.
When you look at the film and you see 6 sacks by Duke, you see some breakdowns up front, maybe some holes that weren't hit by the backs, what goes through your mind when you're watching all that?
When I'm watching the tape or watching it live?
When you're watching let's go to the tape first and then live second.
Well, watching the tape, I kind of always ask why. I sit down with the offense, the defense, and the special teams, and I just want to know why. What was the plan? Did they do something different? And then why did these breakdowns occur? Was it scheme? Was it player? Was it mismatch? What was it? And then we have to try to fix it. There's no use of just yelling and screaming. It's, I'm not going to yell at anybody for making a mistake. I want to know why and what happened and how we can fix it. And that's my approach with the players and the staff. As far as on the game day actually goes, I was a lot calmer than I thought I'd be. In the beginning of the game, I hope they didn't show me. I haven't watched a TV copy. There was a couple times I was probably on the field too far, jumping on our guys and hitting them on the helmet. And, I think when a running back, we ran a guy over out of bounds. I probably got a little bit too excited in his face. I think I got to kind of keep my cool a little bit there better, and I will. But when things were hard, I thought I kept it together as well as I would have liked to. I stayed pretty calm throughout the game. I probably get more excited in practice. You put the work in at practice, you develop a plan you believe in, and then Saturday you can't see the players see you flinch. And I wanted to be confident and cool and stay collected, and because I wanted the players to play like that. And I felt like if I could show them that and continue to fight and just show them that, I was hoping they'd follow and play that way.
Well, you certainly did it well. Jeff Hafley's 1-0. The Eagles are 1-0. Looking ahead to Texas State on Saturday night. We'll get to that with much more with the coach on the BC Football Show right after this from our good friends at Bud Light. Stick around.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. A little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer. IRC Beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Boston College 1992 alum Matt McGovern is the proud owner of the McGovern Auto Group, Boston's fastest growing family of car dealerships. Matt is proud to serve BC, its students, and their families, with 11 dealerships across the Boston Metro and over 5,000 vehicles to choose from. Don't settle for a new vehicle from just anyone. Join your fellow Eagles Matt McGovern, Mark Walker, Christine Hyde, and Tom Kilgariff at McGovern Auto Group. Visit them online at McGovernAuto.com. Go Eagles!
This is Karen's experience. I looked at houses for over a year, but only had a weekend to lock in an offer. At Cambridge Savings Bank, we know your home buying experience will be unique, which is why our dedicated mortgage loan experts work closely to understand you on a personal level, giving you the support and confidence to make smart decisions fast, especially on weekends. See how Cambridge Savings Bank can help you get home at cambridgesavings.com. Member FDIC, member DIF, equal housing lender, NMLS number 543370.
Guys, we work hard and play even harder. That's why Hadjars believes that you should feel your best all the time. From casual wear to the perfect tailored suit for all the big and tall guys out there. Do yourself a favor and dress like the Eagles do on game day. Get to Hadjars, where they have been delivering confidence to the better-than-average man for the past 50 years. Visit Hadjar showrooms in Quincy or Burlington, or go to big-tall.com for more information. That's big-tall.com. Go BC!
No one gets you closer to ACC Sports than SiriusXM. Tune in to shows on ACC Radio, hosted by experts like Wes Durham, Chris Spatola, EJ Manuel, Torrey Holt, and me, Mark Packer. Plus, get conference news, analysis, and much more. From off-season through postseason, we've got your team covered anywhere you go. And now you can try us out for free. Get a free trial to take your team with you on your phone, online, and at home. Start listening at SiriusXM.com/ACCSXM.
It's back, the return of the prestigious Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, honoring college sports excellence across all competitive divisions, both men's and women's sports. Follow along with L Directors Cup on Twitter or online to see which schools will be taking home a first place trophy in June for their season-long success. Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, a premier institutional award jointly launched in 1993 by USA Today and NACDA.
Jurkovic, the give to David Bailey, straight ahead. Bailey reaching for the end zone, and he is in. Touchdown, Boston College. He's the first Eagle in the end zone. Is that foul-worthy?
Wow, start bowing.
This is the Boston College Football Show, presented by Bud Light. For more of tonight's show, here again, John Meterparel.
A great opening drive for BC as they went up early in the first 7-0 on their way to a 26-6 win at Duke. And remember to join the BC Gridiron Club and support the Football Eagles. Benefits include home game tailgates, away game venue bashes, and unprecedented team and program access. Sign up today at bcfootballgridiron.com. And a shout out to Paul Criscione and Don Terrian, the entire BC Gridiron Club. Coach, no doubt they would have been down there with you at Duke if they could have gone, but they weren't there. I'm sure they were watching at home, listening at home, and all of us in BC Nation very proud of the effort. But playing without any fans, there were cardboard cutouts, but that's it. What was the experience like for the team, do you think?
Well, I think the only thing that was a little bit strange was when we were out there warming up. You know, we're out there warming up, and they're warming up, and it felt like we were getting ready for a scrimmage. Once the game started, truthfully, I don't even know if our players noticed. They had so much juice. There was no one sitting down. They were so loud. They brought energy. I really don't think it affected them. And, again, I think, you know, give a lot of credit to our players. They were so locked in and brought so much juice where I probably realized it before the game and then at the end of the game. But after that, it was like they were there. So you couldn't even tell.
No, it certainly didn't affect the outcome. And we do have some questions from Twitter and from Periscope. We encourage our fans out there to tweet us at BC Football's account. One question, Coach. I mentioned briefly the offensive line and the running game. One fan wants to know what was, quote, what was up with the running game. David Bailey had some moments, including that touchdown. But what do you feel like they have to do to improve?
Well, I think it's a combination of everything. I think combination of what Duke was doing up front, how many people they had in the box. They 100% sold out to stopping the run, which is why we opened it up in the second half. And you saw once we were able to do that, the run game started to become a little bit easier. We ran the ball pretty effectively on that first drive. Then the safety started to come down. And we probably should have opened it up and tried to take the top off earlier to back the safeties up. They were playing a lot of different fronts. They were playing a lot of 3-down fronts and taking a backer and moving them around and trying to cut up the front in pretty different exotic ways, which they did a nice job of. There were plays there and there were yards there that we just missed. I think we need to be more precise and probably open it up a little bit more. But I think you'll see improvement. Again, new system, first time everybody's playing together, first time we're actually playing against a different team and a different scheme. The key is just to get better every single week, and I'm hoping it will this week.
Do you think the leap is large? You've been around many college football teams, including last year at Ohio State. Is it a quantum leap from week 1 to week 2 often?
You know, that's what every coach seems to say. I don't know how much I'm going to get caught up in saying there's going to be this huge quantum leap from week 1 to week 2. in my opinion, you need to get better every single week. So I don't want to say that. I hope we make big jumps every week. That's the goal. But I hope we look like a better football team this week than we did last week, and that's our goal.
Zay Flowers, you mentioned briefly in the first segment, ACC Receiver of the Week. 5 catches, 162 yards. Clearly NFL caliber speed. The ball in his hands, Coach. To me, he's probably the fastest guy I've seen in a BC uniform in a long time. What's the next step for him to keep it going?
Well, just to continue to develop into a complete receiver. Like I said, I think we were talking earlier, it's route running. Can he get open versus one-on-one coverage? Understanding zone coverage. Can he read the zones and run the right route accordingly? The screen game, which we clearly like to get the ball in his hands, the shots down the field. Probably draw a little bit more attention now that people know who he is. I told him the night before the game, I grabbed him. I said, hey, man, you better get a lot of yards this week because everyone's going to know who you are after this one. And he grabbed me after the game, and he kind of looked at me and said, Coach, you told me. I was like, I know I did. I said, good luck, buddy. You're not going to get single coverage every single game now.
Yeah. Could be a whole different ball game for him. And unfortunately today we learned Kobe White is out for the year with an ACL. That's clearly a hit because he's not only a great player, but also a great leader too. So how do you compensate for his absence?
Well, I think the rest of the group's got to step up. He was the one guy we were counting on with a ton of experience, which helps, especially in big games. So, we got some other really good players that they're all going to have to step up and take over for him. We talked to Kobe yesterday. He was in good spirits. Really good leader. I'll give you an example. He called me up Friday night in the hotel. We brought him with us last Friday. And he said, hey, Coach, do you mind if I go with the equipment staff to the game early? I think they were going at like 5:30 in the morning. And I said, sure, why? He goes, I'd like to help them set up the locker room in the field so I can do my part. So You want to talk about a good kid who put the team first? I hung up the phone and I said, that guy will be back and it'll be better than ever because he's made of the right stuff. So we miss him. He won't be around too much this week because he just had the surgery, but he'll be back and he'll help us win some games.
Well, that is an outstanding testament to his character. I mean, that's a story that, again, you'll probably carry that one a long way, won't you?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, most guys wouldn't have even wanted to come to the game, stay home, be with their buddies or whoever was home. And he wanted to come to the game. He asked me if he could travel. And 5:30 in the morning, waking up to go set up the lockers for his teammates. So impressive kid.
Yeah, that's what BC football is all about. And I think one of those guys that may compensate is Jalen Gill, who has had some flashes, including the touchdown that got called back after the penalty, but clearly someone that's going to get more involved as we move along, Coach?
Yeah, I do believe so. Jalen graded out really well in the game. And I know people might say, well, I didn't really see him catch the ball and do very much, but for knowing his assignments, the blocking down the field, I thought our receivers really blocked well. And that's one thing that, I'm not going to get very involved with the offense, but our receivers better block down the field because as a DB guy, there's nothing more intimidating than when they're going to come after you all game. I thought they did an awesome job of blocking for each other down the field. Jalen was open. I mean, there were some yards out there for him. And, if we hadn't had that penalty 20 yards away from the point of attack at the end of the game, Jalen would have had a touchdown too, and we would have scored 33 points. So, I think you'll see him get better. And he hasn't been with us for very long, doesn't really know the system that well, and that's why we can't do as much and move him around as much as we would like right now. But he's a guy that will certainly have that ability.
Defensively, you flashed some terrific ability with 5 turnovers, extremely opportunistic. Marcus Valdez had a motor revving all game from his defensive end spot. He's one of your captains. Valdez, to me, is an intriguing guy, Coach, because he came on last year at the end of the season, and now he looks like he's continuing it. Is he an improved player in your eyes?
Yeah, I think so. And it's exactly how he practices. He has a motor in practice that never stops. He does every little thing right. I mean, you saw the effort early on in the game when he reached out, dove, and just swept the ankle and got the quarterback down. I mean, you watch practice, it's the same things that he does. So he's a guy that we really have to and will count on. And I think you'll see him make a lot of plays this year.
When you looked at the game film defensively, were there things that you said, you know what, we need to get better there? I'm sure there were. There always are. Can you tell us a few of them?
Yeah, well, one for the biggest thing that I was looking at is I wanted to see us run and tackle. And usually in that first game, especially without, having a lot of tackling live in, I thought our guys tackled for the most part well. I thought we really ran to the ball. I hope when people watch us play, they saw a lot of guys running to the ball, a lot of guys in on the tackle, and that usually helps you create turnovers, which we got a bunch of them in that game. We lost leverage in a certain plays. We missed a tackle on that big touchdown run. I thought some of our coverages, some of our drops, we weren't precise enough. I just think we just need to be more detailed. Just the little things. But the effort was really, really outstanding, and that was really my goal for the first game. We kept it very simple, very vanilla. I wanted the guys to play fast, feel fast. I didn't want them to think in the first game. So we kept it pretty simple for them. But for the most part, I thought the defense did a nice job. I think we got to stand up against the run a little bit better. I'd like to see more rush on the quarterback. But if you watch the game, you saw he was getting rid of the ball so quickly. A lot of it was just catch, throw, catch, throw. Yeah. I want to generate more pressure, give the guys a bunch of different looks. But I thought the guys did a nice job.
Isaiah McDuffie had an interception along with Jamin Moose. McDuffie, one of the best linebackers in the ACC. But are we going to see two linebackers a lot, Coach? Is that part of the scheme?
Well, it all depends what they give us on offense. We felt going into the Duke game, have two linebackers on the field was in our favor. There might be three this week. There might be one this week. We have a bunch of different packages that didn't come out. But that was our base deal against Duke, to have Max and McDuff out there, and I thought they played pretty well.
Absolutely. When you look at the defensive line, Luke Beckett and Onwuka, two newcomers, transfers. Onwuka was extremely active, I felt like. How did they play?
Well, I thought Booz did a good job. They had a hard time blocking him. I think Luke hasn't been practicing very much, so he probably looks at the film and still needs to get his feet under him a little bit. But, I thought he did a nice job inside too. But both of those guys, we're really glad they're here. And again, Luke's kind of been with us for a few weeks and hasn't played much football. We're really without a training camp. But Booz definitely was noticed and was felt, and I'm glad they're both here.
And the secondary, near and dear to your heart, an area where clearly they were active. Were you happy with the play?
I was happy with the way they played, yes. They were very competitive. They attacked the football. They challenged receivers. They tried to finish violent on the ball. You saw DeBerry just rip the ball from the receiver. I mean, that's the attitude we want to have. They kept the ball in front for the most part, which is really important to us. They ran, they tackled. We got to clean some things up, and we're going to need to improve. But from the mentality, the competitiveness, and how hard they played, yeah, I was impressed. And if you saw, we played a lot of guys. We were constantly rotating guys in, and that's how we're going to play. D-line, I thought Coach Vince rotated guys in better than anywhere I've ever seen to keep his guys fresh. So it was good to see.
Coach, the fact that you were so active and around the ball, 3 forced fumbles against Duke, do you coach that? Is that just innate ability? How's that shake down?
Yeah, we talk about the ball constantly. If you look at the single biggest factor in winning and losing is the turnover battle. And we were +4. If you're +4, you should win every single time. I mean, the stat's going to tell you if you're +4, you probably have a 98% chance to win. +3, it's in the 90s and 75, and it goes on and on and on. So we talk about it all the time. We drill it all the time, offensively and defensively. And to me, it's an attitude. It's running to the ball, getting multiple people to the ball. And it's the only way you can do it. If one guy's getting the tackle, the other guy's got to go in and try to get the ball out. And we preach it constantly. We reward it in practice. And our defensive staff does an incredible job, bringing that to the forefront of what we're all about.
Yeah, no, that was certainly a refreshing element of this game. Maybe a little underplayed, too, the fact that 5 turnovers were forced by the Eagles. Coming back on the BC Football Show, we're going to dive into Texas State, first ever meeting between the Bobcats and the Eagles as they kick it off at 6 at Alumni Stadium in the home opener on Saturday. This is BC Football Show. Now back with more after this from Bud Light.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beer, beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Boston College 1992 alum Matt McGovern is the proud owner of the McGovern Auto Group, Boston's fastest growing family of car dealerships. Matt is proud to serve BC, its students, and their families, with 11 dealerships across the Boston Metro and over 5,000 vehicles to choose from. Don't settle for a new vehicle from just anyone. Join your fellow Eagles Matt McGovern, Mark Walker, Christine Hyde, and Tom Kilgariff at McGovern Auto Group. Visit them online at McGovernAuto.com. Go Eagles!
Technology has sure changed the way we live and bank. But one thing it should never change is the importance of a warm smile or friendly handshake, or the comfort of knowing that when you need help, there's a neighbor that's there to lend a hand. At the Village Bank, we offer all the services you need to bank more easily, but with that personal touch that seems to be so hard to find today. To learn more about how we can help you, call 617-969-4300. Stop in or visit village-bank.com. Either way, we'll be there for you. The Village Bank, member FDIC, member SIF.
Sullivan Tire and Auto Service is celebrating our 65th anniversary with amazing deals on quality brand name tires for any vehicle. With the winter driving season not far off, Sullivan Tire has thousands of tires on sale from Goodyear, Michelin, Kelly, BF Goodrich, Yokohama, and more. Also save on auto repair as our ASE certified technicians get your car ready for any kind of weather. Locations all over New England, including Newton, Brookline, Somerville, and Watertown. Find out more and make an online appointment at sullivantire.com. Go BC!
Did you know Geico's now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies? That's 15% on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? Your dentist to actually believe you?
And you're flossing every day.
Absolutely.
Great. And you're cutting down on your sweets?
Of course.
Wonderful. Then I don't even need to look in there.
Great. See you in 6 months.
There's never been a better time to switch to Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th. Limitations apply. Visit geico.com for details.
The passion.
25, first down 20, 15, 10, 5, 3, 2, 1.
The fury.
Getting blitzed. Down he goes.
The speed.
Doubled into the
Boston College football.
For the end zone. Got it for 6 points. You can unhitch the wagon. Put the ponies in the barn. Over the shoulder. Get 30, 20.
Say goodnight to this one. This is the College Football Blitz. Listen on Saturdays this fall.
Starting at noon Eastern Time on ESPNU Radio, Channel 84.
On his feet, trying to throw it to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown, Boston College and Hunt along with a 9-yard catch. And the Eagles lead 16-6. Is that bow-worthy?
Yes, bow, my friend.
You're listening to the Boston College Football Show, presented by Bud Light. Once again, here's John Meterparel.
And welcome back to BC's Football Show. We're here every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 along the WEI Sports Radio 850 network, also on TuneIn. Special thanks to our friends at Learfield IMG College. I'm John Meterparel with the coach, Jeff Hafley. We'll be back on the air with BC Football, 5:30, our broadcast time on Saturday night, 6 o'clock, approximately the kickoff as the Eagles take on Texas State. Jeff, they were a late add-on after Ohio and the MAC Conference decided to not play the season due to COVID-19. So the Bobcats have played 3 games. They're 1-2. They're coming off a win over Louisiana Monroe, 38-17. What do you know about them?
Well, I think their head coach, Coach Spavital, has done a really nice job this year. Because if you look close at them, they could very, very easily be 3-0. He's an offensive guy. You know, I know he did a good job at A&M and at Cal and obviously at West Virginia before he got the job. Explosive on offense. I would say they probably have 3 receivers who could all start in the ACC. Very fast, you know, very electric with the ball in their hand. They got some guys that can go up top and catch the deep ones, the 50-50 balls, and they have a lot of guys that can catch and run. 2 of their returners are electrifying, 1 punt returner, 1 kick returner, number 1 and number 3. And you're going to see they play the same way on offense. They play 2 quarterbacks for various reasons. One is a guy that's going to run around and try to play like Johnny Football, and you know the other I have a ton of respect for. He took some really good shots last week, threw the ball down the field, came back in a game when it looked like he'd be out. 37 points a game, I believe they're scoring. It's an explosive conference when you look at that whole league, and it is an explosive offensive football team, which obviously I spent more time watching their offense and their defense just because of the nature of, what I coach. And then defensively, it's the same way. They have a pretty unique scheme. They've been down defensive linemen. So I give their staff a ton of credit. I think they only had 5 defensive linemen dressed last week because of COVID and other injuries. So to get done what they did and win a game, that's hard. So smart coaches adjusted well. They got some fast guys in the back end. Their linebackers look pretty good, and they got some pretty twitched up interior defensive linemen. So again, very close game to SMU, and then they lost the game in overtime, and then they won last week against Louisiana Monroe. So you're talking about a coach who I think has got a team that's on the rise, and you're going to hear from them, and you're definitely going to hear about him in the future because he's a guy that can score points.
Yeah, they call it it's the Sun Belt Conference, but a lot of people call it the Fun Belt. I think it's known for offensive explosions. Appalachian State, the headliner. We saw Coastal Carolina earlier this year beat Kansas. Certainly some upsets happening every year involving this conference. Do you look at that and say, when you scheduled them, like, was that a red flag at all?
No, I think at that point, they were one of the teams available, and we had the open date, and they had the open date, and we played it. I don't look at games and think about whether they're going to be upsets or not. I look at who we're playing, and I see speed, and we got to go out and defend it and do the best that we can.
In the past, Coach, we've those of us around BC football maybe become accustomed to watching a team after a big win kind of let down the next week. Not the best performance the next week. The accountability factor, maybe making sure the team stays on the right track and the confidence is there and the ability is there. Is that a concern this week with you and the coaching staff about making sure this team is cranked up intensity-wise and performance-wise?
No, the result of this game won't be because of a lack of effort or a lack of practicing or a lack of our team thinking that they're better than they are or better than this football team, because we can't think like that. We're the 15th picked team in the ACC, and we're still the 15th picked team in the ACC. And that's how we're going to play, and that's how we're going to practice. We get these text messages now with people telling us that we're good. We played one football game, and we have a lot to prove. And I have a lot to prove to myself and to this team. And we're going to practice hard every single week, regardless who we're playing. And if the process is right and we go out on the field every single day of practice and do the best we can, and Saturdays we go play ball, the result is the result. But we're not going to change who we are and how we practice no matter who we're playing. And I have too much respect for this team and what they've done. And I just turn on the tape and watch it. If anybody watches this team on offense, this team's going to run with everybody in the country.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt there's speed. And when we have a question from Twitter, how do you plan to come out and play as fast as a team that's already played 3 games already? It might be a little bit more cranked up conditioning-wise.
Well, I just think we keep rotating guys like we did. Duke had already played Notre Dame, and we hadn't played any. Not going to use excuses, just going to go out, and our guys better be ready to play a lot of snaps. And the backups better be ready to play, and the third team guys better be ready to play. And it's our job as coaches to prepare all those guys.
When you're watching film, I know you probably don't do as much on offense as you've mentioned, but Matt Applebaum, your offensive line coach, when you guys sit in that room and watch the 6 sacks occur, some breakdowns, what's the point of emphasis moving forward so that doesn't happen again?
Well, I think it's not just the offensive line. If you look, you always got to say, and this goes back to me being a DB coach, right? It's every ball that's caught on an NFL Sunday, whether it was caught in the linebackers area, whether it was a screen pass, it was always my fault because I'm the DB coach. And if the team threw for 400 yards, it was my fault because I was the DB coach. But you got to look more into things, right? Where was the pressure? Where was the backer? Where was the help? Who really was responsible for that zone? So you can't look at the sacks and just look at the offensive line. You got to look at the whole picture. Did we slide the protection one way? Did the running back miss who he was supposed to be picked up? Did the quarterback drop deep enough? Did he drop too deep so the ends and the ends could run around the tackles? I mean, it's the ultimate team game. So when we sit there and we watch it, it's a lot of different things. So I'll never point it at one coach. I think Coach Applebaum's doing a really good job, and I thought our O-line played well. It's just what the average viewer sees on TV, and it's not their fault. It's, sack, O-line's fault. Deep ball, DB's fault. I mean, it's sometimes you like to be the D-line coach because, those don't show up on TV so much.
tough to run from the cameras, I guess. But no, it's a great point. I think it's definitely easy to do, but it's one hand shaking the other all game, right?
That's it. Just like when we run for 150 yards in a game or 200 yards in a game, no one wants to talk about the wideouts, but they might have sprung 80 of those yards. So, I mean, when you talk about football, and I know people know this, but all 11 got to be on it. And when one guy wins, they all win. And whether it's the pass game, the run game, it all happens together.
Coach, your keys to the game brought to you by McGovern Auto Group, owned by Matt McGovern, Boston College class of 1992. McGovern Auto Group is the fastest growing auto group in the Boston area. Visit one of their 14 locations or check out McGovernAuto.com. All right, what do you got against Texas State? Some guys that can certainly probably run with the best of them at any level.
Well, I think on defense, I think we got to keep the ball in front and we got to tackle. We can't let the ball go over our head. And again, that's not just the DBs now. That means we got to generate pressure on this quarterback because if he doesn't have time to throw, then those balls can't go down the field. And we got to attack the football. We have to continue to run, get multiple people to the ball, and we have to take the ball away. Truthfully, that's how we're going to win this year. We have to take the ball away and give the offense our ball and get more possessions than they do. On offense, we got to execute at a higher level. We have to set up the run because, like I said last week, we have to run the football. And then we have to be able to open the ball up and throw the ball, whether it's the quick game, whether it's spreading out and empty, whether it's taking shots down the field. We got to make them move back so we can run. And then when they come up, we got to throw the ball. So I think we have to execute at a high level, and then we have to take care of the football. We saw what happened last week. Turnover battle's huge, and we always have to win that one.
We've heard in years past, especially from the last coaching staff, they wanted to play fast. It was a point of emphasis for them. Maybe is that going to be something you look at too, or no?
With us playing with tempo?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it depends how the game goes. We certainly have the ability to not huddle and to get to the line and go fast. But it all goes back to complementary football. The one thing I think people need to look at hard is in our fourth quarter in that game, we had an 8-minute drive. And we got 3 points. We didn't get a touchdown, but we took 8 minutes off the clock in the fourth quarter. The O-line did that. They drove us down the field. And I went right over to that O-line at the end of the game, and I said, hey, guys, I'm not worried you didn't score a touchdown. You just took 8 minutes off that clock. You're not going to have enough time now to score. So it's all complementary football. Where are we in the game? Do we want to speed it up? Do we want to slow it down? How are we playing on defense? Are our guys on defense tired? Do they need a break? And that's my job as a head coach to try to piece that all together with our staff.
That's another very valid point. It's game within the game stuff. This is terrific. If you love football, you love Jeff Hafley. 8-minute drive kind of typifies what you're looking for.
Yeah, there's no doubt. As a defensive guy, you take 8 minutes off the clock, and you don't have to play defense. I mean, doesn't let a lot of plays out there that they can get yards and score on us. So I love those long drives.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Coach, I know you mentioned this after the game. You got texts from people around the country. That must have been very satisfying for you. It clearly was a huge team win. But first of all, have you answered all of them yet?
I have 41 left to go. So
out of how many?
I probably had over 300. I'm chipping away.
Okay. Impressive.
So if I haven't gotten back to you yet, I'm sorry, and I will get back to you.
But that must have been very satisfying for you, and it makes you feel really good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's whether it's coaches you coached with, players you coached, friends you went to high school with that you hadn't talked to in a long time, friends you went to college with. Some numbers I don't know, so if you wish me good luck and the number wasn't in my phone and I don't write you back, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, it is. As much as you can say it doesn't, no, it does. When you see people that care, I appreciate them reaching out. And like I said, that game was more than just beating Duke for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, no, it spoke volumes about how far you've come in the last 6 months. I was wondering, I think a lot of fans wonder, what do coaches do when they're not, A, coaching, and B, sleeping? I guess there's 3 hours every day maybe where you can think about other stuff, maybe not. But do you have any guilty pleasures? Is there anything you'd like to do to relax?
I kind of just hang out with my kids and hang out with my wife when I come home. Wednesdays, I get to come home a little bit because I get to do the show at home now. So I have dinner with my family. Tomorrow we come home a little bit earlier, so I'll get to see my family. But after that, you're in the office, and when you get home, everyone's sleeping, and you go to bed, and when you wake up, everyone's sleeping, and you go back to work. So it's football and my family and making sure everybody's okay. We got enough. I don't have any time for any hobbies right now, that's for sure, especially with COVID.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. It keeps up a lot of your time. There's no doubt about that. How are things going with the testing recently?
Well, we still got great news. We just tested today when we walked off the field, so hopefully we'll get more good news tomorrow. And then I know we'll test again before we play the game for the ACC protocol, and hopefully that will continue. It's hard, and there might be a time, truthfully, where we do have some positives. And if you look at Notre Dame, which I know they've done a great job, and there's some other schools, and I have some other friends on coaching staffs that, they thought they've done all they can too. I'm just hoping for the sake of college football and for everybody's health and safety that, we can continue to push along. Because, regardless of what happens, we just want to line up on Saturday and get the opportunity to play and get better. And that's the whole point this year. We have to become a better football team.
Well, you're well on your way. We're looking forward to the home opener on Saturday night. Coach Hafley, you are going to depart. We appreciate your time as always. We're going to catch you again next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Pete Cronin's going to step in for you. You know Cronin, man. He's got big shoes to fill.
Yeah, he'll be all jacked up. It'll be great. All right.
Coach, thanks a lot, man. Have a great night, and go get him this week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. I appreciate your time.
We appreciate it as well. Jeff Hafley on the BC Football Show coming back. Pete Cronin, the old linebacker, joins me with his keys to the game right after this.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Boston College 1992 alum Matt McGovern is the proud owner of the McGovern Auto Group, Boston's fastest growing family of car dealerships. Matt is proud to serve BC, its students, and their families, with 11 dealerships across the Boston Metro and over 5,000 vehicles to choose from. Don't settle for a new vehicle from just anyone. Join your fellow Eagles Matt McGovern, Mark Walker, Christine Hyde, and Tom Kilgariff at McGovern Auto Group. Visit them online at McGovernAuto.com. Go Eagles!
This is Tom's experience.
I was completely committed to buying a house. I just wasn't sure I could pull off a huge down payment.
At Cambridge Savings Bank, we know that your home buying experience will be unique. That's why our dedicated mortgage loan experts share your commitment, taking the time to truly understand your individual needs and working with you to find solutions that set you up for success. See how Cambridge Savings Bank can help you get home at CambridgeSavings.com. Member FDIC, member DIF, equal housing lender, NMLS number 543370.
Guys, we work hard and play even harder. That's why Hadjars believes that you should feel your best all the time. From casual wear to the perfect tailored suit for all the big and tall guys out there. Do yourself a favor and dress like the Eagles do on game day. Get to Hadjars, where they have been delivering confidence to the better-than-average man for the past 50 years. Visit Hadjar showrooms in Quincy or Burlington, or go to big-tall.com for more information. That's big-tall.com. Go BC!
No one gets you closer to ACC sports than SiriusXM. Tune in to shows on ACC Radio, hosted by experts like Wes Durham, Chris Spatola, EJ Manuel, Tori Holt, and me, Mark Packer. Plus, get conference news, analysis, and much more. From off-season through postseason, we've got your team covered anywhere you go. And now you can try us out for free. Get a free trial to take your team with you on your phone, online, and at home. Start listening at SiriusXM.com/ACCSXM.
It's back, the return of the prestigious Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, honoring college sports excellence across all competitive divisions, both men's and women's sports. Follow along with L Directors Cup on Twitter or online to see which schools will be taking home a first place trophy in June for their season-long success. Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, a premier institutional award jointly launched in 1993 by USA Today and NACDA.
At the 38-yard line, play fake, Jurkovic rolling right, now looking, fires it deep down the middle of the field, wide open, Zay Flowers got it, and he can waltz into the end zone. Touchdown, Boston College. Flowers does a little dance, and so should the Eagles. They lead 22-6.
This is the Boston College Football Show, presented by Bud Light. For more of tonight's show, here again, John Meterparel.
And welcome back for our final segment of the BC Football Show. You know what? We wait for the final segment to bring in the big guns. Why not? The BC Hall of Famer, the old Redskin, the old Seahawk, the old linebacker. You know him. You love him. I've spent 16 years with this guy on the BC broadcast. It feels like just yesterday, Pete, we were at BYU calling our first game. Welcome.
Feels like 20 years.
Nice You're going to love the build-up I just gave you. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like I wrote it. Good job.
Yeah,
Well done. Thank you very much. And it's been a great run with you and me. We've seen a lot of good football, seen a lot of bad football. But it seems that we're looking into a good football thing right now. Hey, one game doth not make you a conference champion, but I think people collectively would be pretty pleased with the outcome of last Saturday's game, given what this team and every team has had to go through with the COVID virus. And this is very odd, but I think collectively, based on what we knew going into last week's game, which was close to nothing, I think people should understand that we are outside the bubble. So, typically we'd have access to players and coaches and practice and so on. And we've had none of that. So the one thing about the game last week was we didn't know a darn thing about this team. And Coach Hafley's lips were hermetically sealed. I mean, this guy, he was tight as a drum. Nothing was coming out. And we were sitting there complaining, but the Duke had the same problem. They didn't know anything. They didn't know how to prepare. And looking back on the game, you got to give BC, you got to give them a little bit of room in that the first half of football, under the circumstances, you get 2 months of practice. You fill in the blanks. You know what I'm talking about. And they had a couple of issues, but the second half, I mean, that was a treat. Watching that football team perform in the second half, that was a treat. And we gave Jeff Hafley the game ball after the game last week. And that we should have given out game balls to him and all of his coaches because they flat out coached Duke. There's no question about it. They flat out coached them.
They did. And I think we all felt that watching that second half develop. And even the first drive when BC went right down the field, I think it's going to be a really fun team to watch, Pete, because you get a sense that just everybody's getting it at the right time. Everybody feels better about themselves. The question is, and you and I talked about it off the air, and Coach just addressed it with me, and I thought it was a very enlightening answer. Will you have a letdown this week? We've seen it in the past, and he's very confident that won't happen. But what do you see from Texas State?
Texas State's an interesting cat. For the Boston College fans out there that kind of ho-hum, poo-poo, the Sun Belt Conference, I got news for you. They got a lot of guys in the league right now. This is you heard of the old saying, the greatest show on turf. This is a conference that's built around throwing the ball. And they've got skilled people at pretty much every position. The thing of it is, when you look at kind of their scheme, they approach the game with an offensive mindset. The head coach is an offensive coordinator, quarterback coach. He's coached some pretty darn good quarterbacks. Manziel comes to mind. Geno Smith is another one that he coached. I mean, he's coached some really good quarterbacks. He's developed and implemented offensive schemes that have been innovative throughout his career. So they come into the game with an offensive mindset. They're going to throw the ball. They want to turn it into a track meet. Now, if you play the tape back, how many times have we been here at Boston College over the years we've worked together and run into a team like this and say, they want to turn it into a track meet. BC wants to turn it into a brawl. Whoever wins that wrestling match is going to end up winning the football game. Their attitude is, here we come. Coach Hafley mentioned 2-quarterback system. Very possibly. One is a pocket quarterback. He drops back, 3-step drop. That's Tyler Vitt. He's a big kid, 6'2", 205. He actually looks bigger on film. He's your typical pocket quarterback, but he led the team in rushing last week.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, he's a dual threat. He doesn't look like a dual threat, but he's nifty. He's got good vision. He'll make plays with his feet if he has to. So now you've got to account for him. On the other hand, Brady Mcbride was a Memphis transfer. He's Manziel-esque. He's a guy that's he'll make something out of nothing. He extends plays. So he's going to create headaches for a defense, a different kind of headaches. But, so they've got to prepare for 2 styles of quarterback. And the scheme is Jeff mentioned, this is it's a spread, 4 or 5 wides. They run RPO, they run play action, they run screen. They get the ball in space. They like to get the ball in space and get their players in space because they're really good athletic and they're fleet of foot. Running game, it's kind of an inside zone. It looks a little bit like Wake Forest, which is mind-bending, or mind-numbing, I should say, when you watch them. They go into the scrum, everybody's standing around, and all of a sudden the back breaks and he gets 15 yards. Well, they run a similar style to that running game. And as I said, the quarterback draw, the quarterback run is a prevalent part of their offense.
Pete, we have to wrap up. Next show, I promise you'll have more airtime. Okay?
Well, I'll demand it. It's in my contract.
It is in the contract.
What I know is if I keep talking, I can keep talking, but no one's going to be listening.
No, Cronin Nation is fully in support. They want you on Twitter too. So we'll get into that in the broadcast coming up Saturday at 5:30. Pete, we'll look forward to seeing you at Alumni Stadium. Stay healthy.
Wash your hands, mate. See you Saturday.
You too. All right. Wear your mask. Pete Cronin, the old linebacker, joining us on the BC Football Show. Special thanks to Jeff Hafley, Jason Baum with the BC football staff. Also, our good friend Wolf Golke back in studio helping us out at Learfield IMG College. We'll catch you again on Saturday for the Eagles and the Texas State Bobcats, 5:30 on Sports Radio 850 WEEI. And also until next Wednesday night for the BC Football Show, for the coach Jeff Hafley, I'm John Meterparel. Have a great night and a great week, everybody. So long.